Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. Thanks for watching my video. Let me introduce. My name is Femma Almayda. My number student ID is 1979 from Law and Business Ethics Class A. In this video, I'm discuss about the role of the law of agreement and engagement. Long allow example with of a case study, namely at PT BNI in Medan. This video is to fulfill my final exam assessment with my teacher, Mr. Novidiana Baturtamami. Here, I will discuss four topics, and namely the first, law agreement, disagreement, law consent of the legal terms of the agreement, and various kinds of conciliation of the agreement. And then two is the law engagement, consisting of there are three sorts of legal basis for engagement based on the civil code and types of engagement law. And number three, difference and similarities in agreements and engagements. And the last one, namely case study at PT BNI in Medan. The law agreement. Agreement law is a legal action in which a person promises to another person, or it can be said that two people promise to do something. According to Article 1313 of the Civil Code. So from in this incident, a legal relationship and between two or more people affairs, which is called an engagement, in which there are rights and obligations of each. As for the various kinds of agreement cancelled, namely number one, an agreement that can be cancelled. An agreement that can be cancelled if the agreement in its implementation will be detrimental of two concerned parties. Number two, an agreement that is null and void. An agreement that is null and void if the agreement cannot be enforced, if there is a violation of the objective condition of the validity of an engagement. Number three, relative cancellation and absolute cancellation. The law engagement. According to Hoffman, an engagement is a legal relationship between a limited number of legal subjects in connection with a person or several people thereof who being themselves to behave in certain ways towards other parties, who are entitled to an agreement to bind themselves in an agreement. There are three sorts of legal basis for engagement based on the Civil Code, namely is number one, an engagement arising from an engagement. Number two, an engagement that arises from law. And number three, an engagement occurs not an agreement, but occurs because of an action against the law and voluntary representation. There are types of engagement laws, namely is number one, conditional engagement. Number two, engagement with time length. And number three, an agreement of joint responsibility or responsibility. Difference and similarities of engagement and agreement. Similarities. Number one, both the agreement and engagement involve at least two or more things. Number 2, the legal basis for agreements and engagement refers to the Civil Code. Difference. In short, an agreement creates an engagement. The agreement is then referred to as a contract if it provides legal consequence related to property and binds the parties who mutually bind themselves in agreement. Case study at PT BNI in Medan. The position of the parties in the micro and small business credit agreement at PT BNI Medan. The position of the parties in the micro and small business credit agreement at PT BNI Medan is not balanced or unequal between creditors and debtors. This can be seen in the rights and obligations of the parties to the credit agreement, where the rights of the creditors are far greater and that than their obligation and the right of the debtor. There are several biases clauses in the banking credit agreement where the creditor can take action unilaterally. The lack or even absence of the opportunity for the debtor to bargain or negotiate the standard clauses given by the creditor to the debtor is of course very detrimental to the position of debtor. Implementation of the precautionary principle in the provision of micro and business loans small at PT BNI in Medan. Implementation of the precautionary principle in the provision of micro and business loans small and at PT BNI Medan is carried out through several stages, namely stage credit obligation, the review stage and credit analysis or examination stage, the stage of giving a decision, as well as the stage of credit disbursement or credit agreement. Candidates, the debtor submits a written core application along with other requirements, namely photocopy of KK, photocopy of KTP, and business certificate. After the requirements are completed, PT BNI will conduct research and review directly to prospective debtors, including prospective debtor business. PT BNI will provide a decision on the credit application submitted by the prospective debtor. After that is the stage of disbursement or credit agreement. This stage consists of several steps, namely the preparation stage for disbursement, the stage taking of the agreement for disbursement, fixed payment, and payment of people business credit. Legal aspect of the engagement in the credit agreement for micro and small enterprises in implementation of the precautionary principle. Legal aspect of the engagement in the credit agreement for micro and small business enterprises in implementation of the precautionary principle, namely the PT BNI Medan branch in practice. The agreement date is made and when a set beforehand, notary is carried out in accordance with the principle of consensuality, where the agreement occurs because on the basis of the agreement of both parties. Thank you, that's all for me. More or less sorry. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.